Hi and welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking about the most common problem that I come across in consumer contracts. But first, if you're new here, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you receive new videos. So a consumer contract can be anything from buying a kettle to having an extension built on your house. So this can be any product or any service that you buy in your personal capacity that's outside of your normal trade or line of work. And for it to be a consumer contract, anyone that is selling you this product or service must be acting in the course of business. So this doesn't really apply to person contracts. So if you buy something on Facebook Marketplace, this is just a private sale and the same kind of rules don't apply. So it's all very well if you're just buying a kettle or an oven or a microwave or even a computer or something like that, whether you buy it from Tesco, Currys, Apple, Amazon or wherever. The terms and conditions are usually readily available. You know what to expect. You're probably familiar with them already. And if you're not, you can look them up very easily and you can see what the terms and conditions are. But the most common problem that we come across is where there are contracts where the terms and even the price in many instances are not necessarily completely agreed in advance of the sale of the product or the service. So let's take the scenario of having work done on your house, whether it's an extension, a conservatory, or just a roof or some windows or anything like that. You obviously are going to pay a sum of money for this company to come and do that work on your house. This might be the first time that you've ever had work done on your house and you might not be familiar with the process. So you get someone come to your house and they show you a brochure or booklet or some kind of sample and they tell you this is what we're going to do and this is what it's going to cost, but they might not tell you the time frame, they might not tell you the full extent of the work that they're going to do. Are they going to finish the design afterwards? Are they going to tidy it up? Or is it a raw installation and you're going to have to decorate afterwards? There's lots of variables that you really need to iron out before you hand over any money. Believe it or not, there are lots of cases that come to us where the exact amount or price for the overall work has not been agreed before the work commences. In some scenarios, the company has been halfway through putting on a new roof to a house and they've charged, let's say, £5,000, £8,000 and the roof is not yet finished and they ask for more money and more money and more money. By which point the consumer is obviously, quite rightly, thinking, how much is this going to cost before the roof is finished? But the problem here is if the price and the duration and the full extent of the work is not agreed up front, how is anyone else to determine what the terms of that contract were in the first place? If, for example, we take a scenario where a roof is half built and the consumer has paid what they think they reasonably should pay for the roof, but the roof is not yet finished, the company thinks that they've only paid half as much as they think they should pay, and we're in this sort of catch-22 where both parties think they are right, but the roof is half finished. What do we do? Well, in this scenario where the two parties cannot agree, the consumer might end up suing the builder to complete the roof, whereas the builder might end up suing the consumer to pay for the remainder of the roof. Or in many cases, either party will file a counterclaim because in reality, neither party really knows what the full extent of the terms of the contract were and what the full price was. So my advice in this scenario is you absolutely must get all of the terms in as much detail as you can and the full price of the whole project down on paper, ideally signed by both parties so everybody knows what they are paying, what they are getting, what they are doing within this contract. Because otherwise, if you imagine a scenario where you get to court and you're asking a judge to decide who is right, whether the roof should be finished by the builder or whether the consumer should pay more money for the builder to finish the roof, it's near impossible for the judge to decide this when the parties themselves didn't even know what the terms of the contract were. Let's take this one step slightly further and say that the terms of the contract are clear in so much as how much of the work is being done and how much money is being paid. But let's say that it isn't clear what colour the tiles are going to be or what colour the guttering is going to be. Let's say the builder has completed the work and it's perfectly fine, but the colour of the tiles is just not to the liking of the consumer. Who is to blame in this scenario? If those details have not been agreed on in the first place, How is a court to decide who is right, the consumer or the builder? If the consumer hasn't decided on a colour for these tiles, and the builder has simply chosen something that he or she thinks is perfectly suitable for the work, then how is a court to decide who is right and wrong in this scenario? Another example would be time frames. Let's say the consumer expects it to be done within 6 weeks, but the builder considers that 3 months is a perfectly reasonable time frame. Who is right in this scenario? If it wasn't written down, then neither party can show that this was the time frame that was agreed upon. So again, my advice in this scenario is if you want the work done within a certain time frame, that this should be at the very least in a written exchange between parties, or better yet, written down into a contract and signed by both parties. Now, whilst it's not impossible to enforce a contract that wasn't completely condensed to writing, it certainly makes it a whole lot easier. And I hope this short video has given you some idea as to how that can affect you if you are having work done on your home or some other contract that has lots of detail that you really need to get right. Because if it goes wrong, you are going to fall back on any written evidence that you have between the parties, because otherwise it is really difficult to show to a court what the parties agreed upon on the contract in the first place. So as always, I know there'll be lots of questions, so please drop them in the comments box below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.